For those of you who are new here, my name is Naima. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help women grow up. And my specialty as the founder is working specifically with melanin dominant women who are born with codes. This is not your typical Black spirituality talking about codes, but worshiping fear. And no, this is the rare thing over here. Okay, this is the rare thing. So I'm going to get into more of this to bring it home for the people who this is for, because most of you, this is not for you, although you can find value here. Okay, so let me introduce myself and part of what's important for me to share about myself within the context of today's topic. So this topic was inspired by a conversation I had yesterday with one of my woman community members who also is currently going through shadow gold. And it's also inspired by a variety of conversations I've had over the years working with melanin dominant women around the world. Okay, because it's the same essence, whether you're African American or African. Okay, so let me introduce a bit about myself for context here. So just like you all have a history, so do I. I was born different. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. For the rest of y'all, you're going to hear that very differently. Okay, my entire system when I was born was in very vehement rejection of what we call normal, what we call earth, what we call everyday life. Okay. And I was able to see as a teenager the lies that have been cradled into humanity. I could see it very clearly. And I was flabbergasted that, wow, that all these human beings actually live in accordance with these lies. I was flabbergasted. Now, what I have found through lived experience, okay, this can only happen when you venture off on the forbidden path, because I talk with a lot of women who are like this person here who, what's the name? Ant from Seaview, who are like, me too, me too, me too. But they still live in fear. They still are not doing the thing. They still have not uncovered things. And so here's the difference between women like her who were like, me too, same, right? And me. I actually started walking the forbidden path as a teenager. Okay. I started walking the unorthodox path, the things you're not supposed to do, all of it, everything that people are scared of now. I did it. I've walked, continue to walk. I've reconciled fear of death, of being murdered, of being persecuted, of being raped. I have walked the forbidden path since I was a teenager. That's the difference between me and everybody else who's like, me too. Okay. Why am I telling you this? Because you need to understand I am in a place that you are not. And then I know what that does is that triggers your ego, the competitive, if you're not truly in your deep mind working from a place of love, your ego will never work to do what you're called to do. So your competitive ego mind that gets triggered when I say that doesn't matter anyway. That's the higher game. Okay, so I'm saying that for those of you who you're inspired by me. You feel like I'm speaking to your soul. You're like, oh my God. But then there's a deep mind in you that wants to conquer me, that wants to kill me, that wants to compete with me. This is a much bigger game of play. Much bigger. Feel privileged that you get to hear me talking in detail about it on TikTok. For those of you who will today or at some point in your life choose very deliberately and intentionally to walk the forbidden path, you will uncover things that other people will question and never get answers to for their entire life. I'm telling you that for a few reasons. One, so you can just know that. Two, so that to speak to your ego mind that wants to understand things on a path that you've never walked. The way you like want to know the answer to something ahead of time. Like, I know I'm called to walk this path, but I'm scared. Can you tell me what it's going to look like over there? And you want answers to a path that you got to walk it for 10 years before you get the answer, but you want somebody to tell you the answer in advance. But me telling you the answer doesn't give you the wisdom that you would get by actually walking the path. You see what I mean by a higher level of play? This is why you can't talk to me. I had a Gen Z person who she brings me a whole storyline and her frontal lobe hasn't even developed yet. You want to play with me at an ego level. I'm playing at a supreme love power level. We're not even communicating the same. You have to get your heart destroyed and come back to even know what your true intent is. You have to be destroyed, cut, disrespected at the bottom, and then come back to do your real thing to even know if you mean what you say. Most of you are operating from scarcity, from fear, from wanting to prove something, from a hole in yourself, fear of being found out, not being loved on the outside and still wanting somebody to love you. And you think what you're doing is trying to help people. No, it's not. How do we know that? How do you really know that? You see what I mean? I'm telling you this because this is the path that I have walked. I have gotten my heart destroyed. I have been betrayed, hurt. I know what it's like to be on the bottom. And I'm back again and again and again. This is how you gut yourself. You truly get gutted to see what your true intent is. Because half of y'all don't really know what your true intent is. Your conscious mind is telling you, you want to help people, you want a better world, you want to help women heal, you want to do this and do all of that. But really what you're looking for is validation from the outside. What you really want is to feel like your life is meaningful. So you're trying to find a way to be useful because am I really meaningful? Am I really as big and bad as I think I am? Am I really loved? Am I really worthy? I'm sharing this with you so you can humble yourself and hear what I'm saying. So here's some of the things that you will do when, again, I want to reiterate who I'm talking to here. You see, it says here at the top, melanin women called to rule. This is not that insecure based, ego based, I come from queens and kings and I'm royalty. And this is not that, okay? Many of us have been bamboozled. We have received incomplete support, incomplete knowledge, incomplete teachings that are not based in real world experience, okay? That are not based in real world experience. So we have gratitude for some of our spiritual teachers. For those of you who come from the Black consciousness community, I was never a part of that. As I heard about it and saw about it, I was like, no, incomplete, off over there. So I never got into the Black consciousness community, but I know a lot of people who went through the whole, they were over there, right? So you know all the teachers and etc. And a lot of real world experience of traversing the forbidden path, because if you're not out here living all the nooks and crannies of yourself and getting to the other side of it to truly get the wisdom, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? You have a half-ass piece of wisdom. You have half-ass knowledge. And that's why, for those of us who are looking around today, and we're just like, as a people, and are like, how are we here? How is this going on? And then for those of you who deeply, deeply know, you don't believe, you don't hope so. You're not like trying to force yourself with this conviction that's not based in anything foundationally true and knowing. You're just trying to grab on to something because you was told you come from kings and queens and we come from royalty and, I'm a god and like all of this that's been going on. But the depth of it and the maturation from a deep rooted, incontrovertible spot is lacking. So you can't never launch off into anything that would have you commanding in a real way. So why am I saying this? Because for those of you who genuinely feel called to rule, regardless of your financial status, regardless of where you live in the world, regardless of how much trauma or difficulty, no matter your religion, your background, you genuinely feel called to rule. And perhaps you have engaged in different projects to respond to the blueprint inside of you. And you have been hit with what felt like defeat, being misunderstood. You have been hit with maybe felt like evil eye. You've been hit with maybe felt like the devil, somebody against you. You've been hit with whatever you would call the thing that caused you to quit. Okay? I'm speaking to her. Where it says right here, melanin women called to rule. I'm really calling to her, not to those of you who are what I described formerly. Okay. Now, and connecting this, we're getting there with connecting this to the stop being insecure around white women. It's all going to come together. So what qualifies me, one, is that I'm all in and I put 13 years of skin in the game. That's one that qualifies me. Two, I walk the forbidden path. You don't, unless you do. Number two. Number three, what I have found out and the other side at which I exist. See, I exist on another side. I come here to do what I do, but I exist on another side that anchors me in even being able to live here in the filth that all of you will need to learn to work expertly in. When I say filth, I mean the energy that you perceive as jealousy, as envy, as violent, as wicked, as mean, as narcissism, as all of it, anything and every murder, predator, sick, vile. In order to do the work that you are coded to do in this lifetime, and I mean this in the most sincere way, this is not because I'm a coded being, I'm a chosen one, all of this hyperbolic cartoon shit these fucks walking around in. Bitch, prove it, bitch. Do what the fuck you came here for. You not, because you scared. Because you're not willing to walk the forbidden path. You're not willing to put your whole life on the line. So shut the fuck up. I do, repeatedly. And one of the things that we're going to cover inside of my God Power Workshop is reconciling your fear of death. Reconciling being raped, persecuted, annihilated, hung, abandoned, alone, all of it. All of it. Because if you don't deal with it, you cannot launch and stay in the air when you feel what feels like abandonment, attack, evil, wicked eye, Judas, the attacker, the enemy, all of the fucking shit y'all got in your own mind that you ain't yet been able to conquer, but you got the codes and the blueprint and you the chosen one. Well, how the fuck come you ain't? What's up then, chosen one? What's up then? Because the children have answers. Yes or no? This 15-year-old's running around here lost like a motherfucker. Remember when you was 15? Remember when you was 12? Remember when you was 20? For those of you who was drinking and on drugs like a motherfucker and you cleaned up, remember that? And motherfuckers around here chosen because I'm chosen because I'm a god. Shut up. So all of this wickedness, whatever you want to call it, whatever word, whatever deep unconscious fear you have, the big black dark, hoodoo, voodoo, wicked, evil man, all of it. I swear, you motherfuckers, all of the shits. You need to be able to play and dance even with all of that happening. You need to be able to come on here and create consistent content. You need to be able to work with white women in whatever capacity you call to work with them. You need to be able to command the world stage when you feel like you're sitting in the face of Judas. You need to be able to stay in flight and do what the fuck you came for when you feel like you've been abandoned and you got the evil eye all around you. What the fuck? Are you a chosen one or not? Are you God's child or not? Otherwise, go ahead and join the oppressive clan. Because see, we oppress. Because see, white supremacy, we wasn't made to survive. See, because it's, I'm a evil man because we can't. Because go join your clan over there. I'm telling you, as somebody who has walked the forbidden path, the power is here and it's always been here. The power is here and it has always been here. So that's what qualifies me. For all you ego-driven, underdeveloped fucks who want to look at somebody and be like, well, who made you? Who made you? Who made you? Well, how do you know? Your whole unconscious mind is getting kicked up and you want to compete and look for a flaw and judge insignificant, petty shit that don't fucking matter for the collective. Yeah, so there you go. Now, the tool that we are using, when I say we, I mean me, I mean the melanin women called to rule. For all of you who know that you have codes that are here to restore humanity to rightness, who are sincere about the collective, who are sincere about doing what you came here for. You are sincere about reconciling every single slither of fear that you have, no matter what the face is of that fear. Fear of losing that man, fear of disappointing your children, fear of triggering this, fear of hate. And I'm saying that because of this system. Whatever yours is, fill in the blank. If I haven't said yours, fill in the blank. If you are sincere about reconciling it so it doesn't keep you small, paralyzed, afraid, chronic anxiety, trying to smoke it away, drink it away, doom scrolling on TikTok, whatever is your flavor. Again, I repeat, this is not for most of you. I repeat, for those of you who know you're called to walk the unknown forbidden path that would immediately create the separating the wheat from the chaff, separating the emotional, they don't like how they feel, so they going off. Okay, separating all of them. For those of you who are called truly and you are sincere about doing what you came here for before you die. We are using own all energies. Own all energies. Can y'all put that here? Own all energies. Can y'all type that in the comments? Own all energies. Now this is deep and wide. This is deep and wide. You can get access to Own All Energies right now for free with the link in my bio. Again, you can get access to Own All Energies for free right now with the link in my bio. Thank you for everybody who put that in the comments, okay? Can you hear me? Nobody ain't told me they can't hear me on YouTube, so I don't know. We are using Own All Energies to begin to get you ready to deal with all the horrible things that you fear and to get you prepared for the abundant love that most of you are not ready for. You think you want love? No, you're not. You think you want love? No, you're not, most of you. You might be ready for conditional love, but you're not ready for true. Humans put all these conditions on love. True love is unconditional. All of the exchange, the you pay the mortgage and I cook and clean. I'll stay here as long as you do that, as long as you fit this, as long as we this and this and that. I get it. That's what humans do. Fine, right? If that's what works for you and that person, fine. Still, that's transactional. Okay? True love is unconditional. Most of y'all ain't never going to experience unconditional love. Most of y'all, I don't know about most of y'all, but some of y'all don't want unconditional love. You need to be able to be, and this is an energy, this is a vibration. You need to be able to be unconditional love. So when I say own all energies, I mean own all. We don't exclude any energy. So when I say all, I mean the most abundant, infinite, unconditional love, all the way to the vile, wicked, evil filth. I mean, all of it. The predatory energy, the succubus energy, the wicked eye energy, the gratitude energy, the hero energy, the vulnerability energy, the support energy, the open heart energy, all of it. All of it. Okay, thank you. So YouTube is not here working. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it right now. Thank you for telling me that, the person who made that comment. You see what I mean? This is what the people who preach this, whoever you've heard preach this, anywhere you've heard preach some version of this, if you don't walk it, your knowledge is half. If you don't walk it, it's incomplete. Own all energies prepares you for dealing with all energy. All of it. Now, that sounds wonderful. Yes? I know somebody said, that's terrifying. I see somebody said, that's heavy. Exactly, right? So that's why I said, for those of you who truly are coded, because I see women, y'all see my video that's getting a lot of attention right now. So many women are in there like, oh my God, yes, my dad said, one woman was like, yeah, my dad said it's okay if I'm abrasive because I'm running a business. And people think that they're relating to the topic and they're not. That's why I said, you'll get value from this, but for most of y'all, this is not specifically for you. People be like, me too, same. Oh my God, I relate. Oh my God, this is so for me. Great. When you are doing collective work, it will benefit many people, but you're only speaking to a specific subset specifically. You gonna catch that or you not, okay? So that's why I said earlier, and this is why even more importantly, for those of you who are called to do collective work that you know is meant to benefit the collective, you're going to speak to a specific person. Like right now, I'm speaking specifically to these women. But most of you in here are not genuinely called to rule, and yet you're finding value. You see that? That's the benefit of you doing what you came here for those of you who are called to rule. You're going to speak to a specific subset of people, whoever those people are. And while you are speaking to them in your content, millions of others can benefit. Isn't that fucking amazing? So that's one of the many, many, many benefits. Okay, now moving on. Whew. Before I go over to talking about stop being insecure around these women, I want to talk about how unfamiliar it is for us. When I say us, I mean melanin dominant people as a whole. How unfamiliar and how unskilled, because at this point we're going to have to learn it all over again through practice. We are very unfamiliar and unskilled with being with large amounts of energy in the presence of one another. Too many of us worship fear. Our go-to is always something dark. Go-to is always something dark. If you feel a little bit of discomfort, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's just, ooh. And because of this, because we're so unfamiliar with energy, period, intense energy, all the energy that you can feel of like somebody who doesn't like you. They don't say it, but you can feel it, right? The energy of somebody who wants to help you and you're not, something in you feels deeply scarce. So you start to feel and uncomfortable if somebody starts to do too much for you that you haven't feel like you've earned. You see what I mean about all energies? This is what I mean. So no matter what angle you slice it, right now, if we were to take 50 random Black people from around the United States and put them in a room and without talking and just we put up a video or I started talking, putting lots of energy into the room, we would become highly, and it's our own energy. We just lack the skill now because of what I almost titled this live stream, the demonizing of melanin dominant folk. The demonizing of melanin dominant folk. Now, for those of you who have been in the game of energy, studying energy, live in the world of energy, you know that energy is energy. It's all about the intent of the individual that's wielding it, right? Who knows this experientially? Not like, oh, I read about that. You don't know it until you've lived it. Energy is energy. It's about the intent of the individual wielding it that makes the difference. So something could happen, right? And maybe you've heard something like, oh, in an alchemical way, right? Somebody, and I've been hearing this on the internet. So like you say, somebody sends you, for those of y'all who'll be like, the evil eye. See, I care every time I talk about what I'm doing, then the evil eye come and motherfuckers start hating. All right. That's why you need to move in silence. Because motherfuckers be hating in a wicked evil eye. So these are people who, one, either are not called, they're not the chosen ones. They're not truly the ones born called to rule. They don't really have codes, or they potentially are that, but they lack the knowledge. Okay. Because energy is energy. Because why is it that you're so familiar and you just like, see, I put it out there that I was trying to reach this financial goal and and then shit start breaking down. And then I start losing all this. But do you have the same kind of awareness when somebody sends you abundant love and gratitude and, light? Do you feel the same way? Oh, I can feel all the light being sent my way. I can just feel the love and abundance. Do you feel that too? Or do you somehow only feel when it's the wicked eye, the deep? So this is what I mean by half of y'all are not ready for love. Because anything and everything that happened in your life, you immediately take that energy and convert it into a weapon against you. See, an alchemist would have taken an energy that was just an intense energy and been like, wow. Yes, thank you. I love this. This is invigorating, and used it to benefit them. Meanwhile, for those of you who are walking around with a fundamental sense of lack, anything that you feel, you're going to turn it into the evil eye. You're going to turn it. See, I knew it. I knew it. The devil is busy. Yeah, that's you against you. You're converting all energy into a demon to bring you down, because at a deep fundamental level, there's a part of you that wants to be there, that believes that's where you belong. So let's talk about this fundamental sense of scarcity that's inside of a lot of melanin dominant people. Let's talk about that. And I need to. So for those of you who are this woman right here, and I repeat, this is not for those of you who want to feel important because you actually are very insecure. You want to prove to the world that you're important, that you're a child of God, that you mean something. You still trying to replace the love you didn't get from your mom. You still mad at this nigga because of that. So you really want to prove to him that you that bitch. You still trying to be out here and show that you something, somebody. You want attention. You're bored. You just want a little power up for the. This is not for you, the God Power Workshop. The God Power Workshop is for those of you who you have never even said it out of your mouth. You know it to be true. You have run from this power. You have asked God to take the power away. You have tried to, you've eaten to get fat to try to take the power away. You've drank and smoked to try to push the power down. You played small and hid and you haven't wanted it and it won't let you go. And you know that you are coded. You know you are called to restore humanity to rightness. You know you're here to correct things. That's who this God Power Workshop is for. That's who this is for. And I'm going to keep saying that because so many women like, me too. When you're born with the codes to restore humanity, you cannot resist it for the rest of your life. I repeat, when you are born with codes to do collective work to restore humanity, you literally start to have physical pain in your body. You start to die. You start to get sick. I started to break out in rashes right here. I started to lose my mind. I was creating fights with people. You cannot truly resist it when you have codes to change the world. And when you do resist it, you literally start to deteriorate. That's very different than the girl who's like, I'm a woman entrepreneur and, you know, I be standing on business because you gonna pay me what you. We need to create this divide because so many of y'all are blind and you don't know it. You don't even know that you don't know it. And this is why we need more of y'all who have the codes to come out here and talk so the distinction can be made. The distinction shows itself when more of us come into the light and stop hiding and playing small. It shows. It shows in you being able to do difficult things with people. People who your ego mind don't want to be bothered, don't want to deal with it, but your high self says you must. Your high self says you are required. That's it, Coco. That's who this God Power Workshop is for. I say at least half of the women who have signed up for it, I've told them, unfortunately, you're not a good fit. Why? What? So just FYI, read the details on the page. When you go to the link in my bio, that's how you register, or at least read the details to make a decision. You go to the link in my bio, click it, and click God Power Workshop. The details are there. Read the details. If you're a yes, complete it. And then immediately after you complete it, a page is going to pop up for you to complete a questionnaire. All of this is part of the process. You're not immediately in just because you're registered. You're not immediately in just because you complete the questionnaire. This is intentional and deliberate. If I don't think you're a good fit, it's not a good fit. So this fundamental sense of lack that's inside melanin dominant women that many of us can see, it's this automatic placing oneself in a position of being the oppressed one, just like automatically. The makeup company don't make a skin shade for you. See, they not trying to sell us. They don't care about us. See, something happened with white people doing something. Large numbers of black people immediately place themselves as the victim that's being oppressed. Immediately, as they don't like us, they hate us. Just immediately just lay themselves down and immediately place themselves as the oppressed person, the victim. In just all the things. Something can happen with a skincare company. Something can happen, and you at work, and something happened with a white woman, a white man, or something. We immediately are like, see, that's that racism shit again. That's that da, 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 da. Versus you played a lower energy to even get the job, and that's what the fuck you get. But we don't want that kind of responsibility. You lowered yourself to even get the fucking job. Now you mad because you getting treated like a lower individual? This is what I mean. Wait, hold up. Because you can only be oppressed with your permission. You recognize that, right? This is what I mean by the fundamental sense of lack and scarcity dominating the unconscious mind of so many melanin dominant folks. Which is why so many of us, we'll talk all day, men and women, will talk all day about you a God, I'm a chosen one, I'm sent here coated with knowledge. This is why more of us need to speak up. Because y'all know what I'm talking about, but you ain't out on the world stage creating content talking about it the way you know it. Why not? Why are you not on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever is your platform, talking clearly, unapologetically, deliberately about what you know as a chosen one, coded, knowing good and goddamn on well you called to rule? Exactly. The default to affirm and align with the lack. Exactly. So I'm going to answer this question Jasmine just asked. So Monica just answered, and here I'll say, let me answer that more, okay? I can imagine what Monica means when she says it's when that energy comes in. A couple of reasons. Why? In your 20s, there's still a development of the brain that's happening, right? This is why perhaps you've heard of the quarter life crisis. Anybody here heard of? That used to be a saying. I don't know if that's still a saying. It was called the quarter life crisis. For those of you who don't know, the quarter life crisis is around the age of 25. The frontal lobe develops. This is what research has found in humans. So for those of you who are, if you're under 25, you don't get it yet. But for those of you who are over 30, right? And you look back on who you were at 20 and you be like, wow, I did that. I was thinking that. Like, I thought that passionately. It's because once your brain clicks in, and it doesn't happen at exactly 25, but it happens around 25. So in order to set folks up for the win, anybody who's in their 30s, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come in. Just like I don't think, for the most part, now this is not a hard and fast, but I think most people in their 30s should not be marrying at 30. Hold on. You shouldn't, because your brain is not even fully developed yet, first of all. But you feel like it is, right? At 22, 23, you feel grown. I got married at 21. You grown, you fucking and sucking, paying bills, got a job. So you feel like you grown. And this is what I'll say to you. Just keep living. That's all I can say, is just keep living. So that's one reason why I say I want you to be 33 or older. Another reason why is women typically, and again, this is not a hard and fast, but typically the older a woman gets, the more serious she starts to get about herself and her life. For those of you who are over 30, over 35, remember how much in your 20s you didn't even think about death. You didn't think about time. It was no body aches. You know what I mean? Who knows, right? You was living a whole other reality. Okay. And you didn't even, perhaps 20-year-olds today are very different than, I'm a Gen Xer, 20-year-olds of my time. When I was in my 20s, we was outside. We wasn't spending 80% of our life on no fucking social media app, okay? So we was outside. We was outside. We was living, okay? We was doing the damn thing. We was getting to know life for real. Not hearing about other people and then somehow thinking we know what the fuck is going on because we hearing about motherfuckers on the internet talking. So now you think you grown as fuck because you got Sheer 7 telling you how to secure a provider man. Then half these girls who getting provider mans is marrying child molesters. Like that house, what's her name? The y'all know the one who she followed Sheer 7's advice and she married a fucking child molester who was molesting her 2 and 4-year-old. You see, you watching fucks on the internet and you think you know with your underdeveloped brain, versus if you take your black ass outside and go live, okay? Go actually talk to people, put your ass in the streets, then you can come back with some wisdom. Okay? So this is another reason why you need to be 33 or older to come to the God Power Workshop. We're dealing in adult. You see that? And when you just think about how when you wanted to be grown so bad when you was 15, you still trying to prove you a woman. You 22, you want to prove you smart, you a woman. And I get it. Listen, okay? This ain't the spot to come and prove yourself. This is an energy game. This ain't a game where in college you can go to school and do all your credits and get your degree. This is not college where you go and you complete all your credits, so now you got a bachelor's. But then when it's time for you to go outside, when it's time for you to actually go sell yourself, when it's time for you to actually go speak in front of multimillionaires, when it's time for you to command a fucking stage, all them credits that just helped you get that bachelor's, somehow it ain't converting. Because there's a maturation that happens in the real world that a degree can't give to you. Those of you who are coded, you need to start creating your content consistently. Your full self. You need to be doing own all energies repeatedly. You need to humble yourself. You need to do the work that you was called for, so you can start to speak in a way that people have never heard before. This is the future. If you have not heard me already talking about this in the content, you are responsible for creating history. History is now. History is right now. I will have this video forever. The content you create today is around forever. You're going to look at it. Other people going to look at it 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years from now. You are creating history now. Jasmine, and anybody else who was wondering why only 33 and up, have I answered your question? You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions before I go further into this fundamental sense of lack that is even plaguing those of us who feel like we powerful and we ready now to command the world stage, ready now to command millions of eyeballs, ready now? Any questions? This deep fundamental sense of scarcity and lack and fear of violence. this deep fundamental sense of lack and fear of violence. Fear of rage, violence. So first of all, the real work is going to begin happening inside of the God Power Workshop, first of all. The God Power Workshop is outside. You remember what I said about getting credits and listening to videos, and you think you're doing something because you're listening to a video like this? When it's time to be outside, the God Power Workshop is about where the actual work starts. Part of the reason why I'm creating this video is to have it chopped up so it can be sprinkled throughout the internet, and also to give voice to it, to start to saturate your mind with what the history will be, the future history will be. So the embodiment that own all energies, and again, I want to repeat this because it's easy to forget, because most of us don't respect a ruling class. Most of us don't respect, we might want to be ruled over because we don't want the responsibility of our life. We want to live in self-sabotage. So we'll be okay with having a government rulership. But most of us will be very uncomfortable with a melanin dominant ruling class. And yet there are melanin dominant men and women who are born to rule in a way that's truly in service to the collective. So most of you are not that. Who here genuinely knows that they're called to rule? Put it in the comments, please. And if you know it's not you, put not me. And if you're silent, I'll assume You and all of humanity are influenced through imagery and story making. I repeat, you and all of humanity. Humanity is the man sitting next to you on your flight to Atlanta, okay? Society is that woman with her kids at Target, okay? We need to bring this home. Humanity is you. Humanity is me, okay? All of humanity is influenced through imagery and story making. What do I mean? The imagery of what the traditional family, the nuclear family, looks like. The imagery of a woman with cleavage. The imagery of an overweight woman. The imagery of a child. The imagery of what the suburbs look like. The imagery of a war zone. The imagery of a businesswoman in a suit like this, looking at the camera. The imagery of a bum, a man on the streets, dirty, pants sagging, jeans got holes in them, his feet dragging, his holes in his shoe. Imagery. The imagery of an immigrant at the border. The imagery of a Native American in their native garb. The imagery of your grandmother when she was 7. The imagery of a Black family reunion. The imagery of a college grad with their college graduation hat and the cape, smiling with a degree. The imagery of a college campus. The imagery of somebody eating your favorite dessert. The imagery of a tired mother cooking for her kids. The imagery, okay, have I brought it home? And that in order to influence you, let's say I'm a content creator. Let's say I sell soup. Let's say I sell enrollment at my college. Let's say I want to sell whatever I want to sell you. Products, clothes, a way of life. Do this, do that. I'm going to sell it to you through imagery and through a story. Again, humanity is framed and influenced through imagery and story making. So if I want you to want to buy a house, I have to create imagery and tell a story to make you want to buy a house. If I'm selling a new lip gloss, I have to create imagery and tell a story to make you want to buy the lip gloss. And we can look at TikTok Shop with who's hot right now. The Anastasia lip gloss, the Fenty lip gloss, and think about what made you buy it, or even that Anastasia balm that everybody's buying. What made you buy it? You saw some imagery, right? Behind the imagery is a story. The story is women who wear this lip get attention. Women who wear this lip get a man. Women who wear this lip look important, attractive, worthy of respect. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? You and woman, you with the yellow profile photo, you with the gray top in your profile photo. Is this making sense? The 36 of you here, is this making sense? I want to connect this. I'm laying down some foundational pieces to really make the connection so it comes home. This is why I elaborate the way that I do, because I want it to hit home in a way that you really get it. Okay? Okay. Very good. Making sense. So, and prior to you seeing the imagery around anything that you have, before you knew it existed, there's a high chance you didn't want it before you knew it existed, right? But the imagery sold you on it, and they sell it to you through a feeling. Just think about the last time you bought something that, and I'm using lip gloss because I imagine there's mostly women here, and that all of you have bought some kind of makeup before, a foundation, a lip color, a blush, right? A brow, something. And even though you're just like, if you were to talk about it, you'd be like, I was so excited to buy this new lip color. It's so cute. Girl, look, right? If we were to go deeper, because you need to understand what's influencing your whole life, making you do what you do. If you explore deeper why you got the lip color, or why you got the foundation, or why you got the brow pen, or whatever you got, it's because you expected some benefit. You was going to look good, more snatched, more adult. It was going to help you get the job. You was going to be more attractive to somebody. It was going to cover the blemishes on your skin, whatever, right? It was some deeper drive. And that imagery told you the story of, if you get this foundation, it's going to even out your skin. And when you even out your skin, you're going to look cleaner, more well-kept, more attractive, which means people are going to want to give you a job, talk to you, be friends with you. You're going to be looked at as somebody valuable. If we were to really interrogate this further, which means you're going to fit into society better. You're going to move through society with greater ease. It's going to be more of a pleasure for you to be a human, right? So I want you to understand the way selling people a way of life through imagery works. Now, this is a modern day example I'm giving, talking about foundation and blush and eyebrow, okay? This also applies to the way you live, okay? Now, I'm connecting this to the fundamental sense of lack that allows melanin dominant, even those of you who see yourself as rulers of humanity, to be insecure around these people, to be insecure when it's time for you to command the world stage, command millions of dollars, command millions of eyeballs, to speak the thing that you don't see anybody else speaking about, but you know it's time for you to speak it, that makes you continue to hide and play small. I'm connecting this with the imagery in which you've been sold and what you bought, and that's locked in your unconscious mind, and you've yet to unlock it. While remembering, to actually change this, you need to come into the God Power Workshop, okay? So look at how you live right now. I don't know any of you here, so I don't know the way you live right now. When I say the way you live right now, I mean, where do you live, right? What, you live in a house, an apartment, the amount of money you make right now, the city you live in right now, what you choose to eat, how you choose to wear your hair, how you choose to care or not care for yourself. Just whatever it is about your life. If you have a lover or a boyfriend or a spouse or whatever, who you're with, who you're not with, why you've chosen that person, if you're single, why you're single, everything about your life, whether you're college educated or not, you have a good relationship with your mom or not, like everything about your life. Just take a quick sweeping view of the way you live your life. And let's just pluck from it your education level or whatever. You can pluck anything from this. I'm just using education because a lot of women who have college degrees are drawn to me. Okay. So let's just pluck the education from it. Now, education is a system, the modern day education, right? Because historically education was different. But modern day education, there's K through 12, and then there's there's undergraduate school, then graduate school, there's law school, there's a PhD program, there's what else? Medical school, right? This is modern day education, right? Now, if nobody told any of us about medical school, if you never heard of medical school, law school, or a better way to say this, because that's a lot of that is debatable. I want to get at the way you're sold on a lifestyle. Okay, the way you're sold on a lifestyle. Hold on, because there's so many different angles and things to pluck from to communicate this. So let me finish this and then let me let it connect on its own. Before you are shown that higher education or education at all is a valued aspect of society, do you want it? Okay. Hold on. This is a bigger picture aspect that I'm trying to break down to bring it home. So hold on. So, bringing home the fundamental sense of lack. And another piece that I had not spoken to is that this is all an energy play and that we're sold through imagery. There's so many pieces to this. And what I know many of you draw from to live in your scarcity is, oh, we've inherited the trauma of our ancestors. You see how many prongs is involved in this? We've inherited the trauma from our ancestors. Another one of you might draw from, we are a created species, okay? Just all the different angles and how the fundamental sense of lack and scarcity that lives in so many melanin dominant men and women, how do we begin to hit this, okay? There's so many different angles to hit this. I want you to grab whichever one of those feels most resonant to you. How about that? Okay. Further, here it is. Thank you. The ways that have been planted for you to disconnect from your deep rooted fullness, your deep rooted wealth. Thank you. Okay. So, one of the ways that you get inspired, if you will, to disconnect from your deep seated wealth. And this matters so much because when you're here to do the work that you're called for, you need to be seated in your deep seated wealth. One of the ways that you get encouraged, inspired to be pulled away from your deep seated wealth is being sold things that encourage you to disconnect from it and play on mortal emotions. This is a lot. Mortal emotions to get you to do that. What do I mean? So here's where now this makes sense, what I was speaking of earlier. I'm telling y'all, this is multi-pronged and it's many parts. So, for example, the nuclear family idea is indeed an idea, okay? It's not natural. It's an idea that was sold, just like the American dream, okay? So, I can't remember when, banks got together to incentivize Americans to buy homes and make them want to buy homes because they needed money. Before the American dream was a thing, before there was such thing as suburbs and all of this first-time home buyer and all this excitement to buy a house, all that is marketing. It's all packaging, imagery, and sold, okay? So this is why I even brought up the beginning of this aspect of the live stream with you are sold through imagery and story. 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 So when you see the image of a husband and a wife with their child in front of a house that looks like a suburban house with the sign that says sold, why is that so compelling to so many women or people? Because it's been sold for so long, right? That was not a thing once upon a time. That's to give you an example of how things are sold. And oh God. If I start talking about deep psychology, humans in our animal mind, we are very responsive to images and story. For those of you who know about the way you sell is through stories, you've heard that stories sell, facts tell, right? Stories sell, facts tell. So if I just come on here and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent and I sell houses in this particular zip code, and you know they range in price from 200,000 to 500,000, and come buy a house from me, you'd be like, whatever. But if I sit and tell you a story and I say, this woman who was struggling to pay her rent in this small apartment 3 years ago learned about our first time home buyer program, and let's say this woman, we pick a woman who we know relates to a lot of women in this demographic. Let's say young Black women between 28 and 38, right? And we say this woman, this young 28-year-old woman who was struggling to pay rent once upon a time in this small apartment in this city, she learned about our first time home buyer program, and she was so inspired for a better life for her 3 children. And she signed up for our resources in this program. And in just a year and a half, she was able to save the money and buy a home for her and her children. And we show her crying, talking about how she was struggling to pay rent. And oh my God. And one day we was worried about if we was going to be evicted. And I saw this ad imagery. I saw this ad about this first time home buyer program. And I was like, I'm creating a better life for my kids. And this is all part of an ad to sell you on coming to buy a house from me. And I'm using story and I'm using imagery to inspire you to come buy a house from me. This is not a problem. I'm just telling you how it works on the dark side. Because the same way it works to inspire you to buy a house, it works to inspire you to abandon your power. Abandon yourself, okay? And she says, in this first time home buyer program, help me buy this house. And then they show images of her in the kitchen cooking for her kids and her kids running through the house in this new house. That this first time home buyer program helped her buy a house. And she says to the camera, if you are a young mother and you want a better life for your children, this first time home buyer program will help you. The end. How do you feel? Versus if I just came and said, I sell homes for 200,000 in this zip code, come buy a house from me. How do you feel? You see how imagery and stories inspire? They move you to take action. They get you to do something. Do you see that? Now, that's the bright side. Because we don't have a problem with that, right? A person wants a house. There's a resource to help them prepare to buy the house, helps them buy the house, a fair interest rate, a fair payment, and boom, they are now in a house that they love. And now their kids can grow in this house. It's safe, it's clean, it's new, it's affordable. Voila, that is absolutely fantastic, right? So we don't have a problem with stories and imagery in that scenario. Where it becomes a problem is where we start to inject shame if you don't choose this way. We start to ostracize you, reject you, tell you if you're not good, you're not worthy, that's not of God, if you don't live this way. And so the way it starts to show up is, one, we paint the imagery that this is the right way. And how do we paint it that this is the right way? First of all, we're going to start by saying God said this is the way. Now, I'm not hardly trying to I've talked so much about this ad nauseum, but just quickly, any way to sell human beings historically, long before we got here, was also through imagery and story. This is not modern day only, through imagery and story. Historically, when I say historically, I mean before the masses could read. Because it used to be against the elite's belief system that everyday people like you could read. In case you didn't know, it has not always been normal that everyday people could read. So when I say historically, imagery and stories is what's sold, told, educated, I mean this in the fullest extent. So, and I don't even remember the year that it became a thing when everyday people could read, but so the way they would tell the story and teach was through oration. And the biggest way that we would communicate this oration and cement it into you in telling the story is that we would say, God, zaddy up in the sky, said that this is the way it's done. So we would give you the imagery, like if you go to some of the churches overseas in older countries, it's the imagery of, first of all, they're mostly white. Okay. And this is how the family is supposed to look. This is what is a woman is supposed to look like. This is how a man is supposed to be. This is how a woman is supposed to be. And if you don't fit this imagery, God is mad at you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You do not belong to this tribe, this village, this community. You are unworthy, and you need to repent and ask God to help right your heart so you can see straight. Now, I know that sounds so dang on archaic, but that is what is living deep in the unconscious mind of most of humanity. This is why we get so, even that is a combination of, because it's what's been sold since we were born, and a level of, wow, look at that play. When you put the man, the woman, the child, with the woman being this particular way. And if she's not this way, she's not a woman. If he's not this way, he's not a man. Never mind what God sent you to be, your nature. Never mind what's going on in your deep mind. Repress all that because that's not of God. Never mind the mind of the people who created the pyramids. Never mind the mind of ancient pre-recorded history. Never mind the mind of, for those of you who are like, all the soulless beings walking the planet and they are created by, the arch, whatever. Everybody got a different angle of this, but the soulless people who walk the planet who are not even really humans and Never mind those minds and the minds that created. No, it's about, this is a man, this is a woman, this is a child, and this is how it goes. And that was sold through imagery and through story making, literally orally. So this is how it worked. This is not hyperbole. So when you fast forward to today, or even the last 100 years, when people can read, books have been written, and people are starting, I shouldn't say, this is starting to walk the forbidden path makes it sound like it's starting now. Because a lot of people walk the forbidden path, but they also stayed in quiet. So we didn't hear about what was going on, which is why I'm telling y'all need to come out and start talking so people can start to realize they're not crazy. They're not the only ones thinking this, knowing this, feeling this, and they feel a permission to come out. Okay. So the imagery, the story making exists in that domain where the story is, this is how a man and a woman exist. And what is used to keep that locked in place to get you to continue to agree with it is, I'm not going to belong. That's the story. Just like over here with the lip gloss, you get the lip gloss because you expect that it's going to have you look prettier, good, attractive, get the job, belong. Over here, you want to agree to this visual, this image that's been sold, because when I do this, I belong in society. And when I don't do it, you get the whole, You're 30 without kids? Have you all even wondered where that came from? Have you all even this is what I'm this is the dark side of it. The bright side of it is when it actually helps people. The dark side of it is when we use it to shame you. We use it to say, this is the way for you to be. And if you don't fit this, this is not of God. So you're ashamed, you're ostracized, you don't belong, you're not going to get a man, and you're going to die old, broken, alone. So that's how it's played on the dark side. And this is how it gets you to agree and abandon your fundamental, deeply connected sense of wealth. You see why I wanted to take the time to really get into the nuance of this, because you need to know the deeper aspect of how we got here as a society, why you choose your lifestyle, and then even to know that, yeah, there is a part of me, because there are plenty of women who know that they're scared to live, who know that they play small, know that they chose their husband out of fear, but at least it's conscious. I want you to be conscious of what you're doing, because then you can wield the power very differently than somebody who keeps themselves blind, keeps lying, and is making decisions from this place of, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am, when no, they don't. And they're not able to create their desired results. I want to say this before we move on. We absolutely have the power to change the world. We absolutely have the power to change the world. When I say change the world, I mean change yourself. And let me tell you this, it's hard. This is why I have my women in Italy. This is why I say we need to prioritize fun. This is why I'm constantly talking about radical honesty, because we need to have the kind of honest where it's like, I felt your ego right there. I felt your insecurity right there. And have real honest conversations. Like, we need to be able to deal at the energetic feminine realm. Okay, this is going, okay. Most of y'all know when you're honest that you're very much in your head most of the time. I call that neck up behavior. Neck up, neck up, neck up. You think you're just up here. You're total ignoring of this. Your deep felt sense, just aliveness. That when you, please do own our energies a minimum of 15 times, minimum. When you start to give yourself permission to be aroused in your body, and like you in a conversation with me on the phone, and you let yourself be aroused in your body and you speak the arousal out of your mouth. You feel something that feels very uncomfortable and you let it be without immediately clamoring at it, pushing it down, giving it what I said earlier, y'all be giving yourselves the evil eye. It just be energy, and you turn it into the evil eye and persecute yourself. I just want to say I'm just like, it needs to be more than me out here. For those of you who know we can change the world, who are called to change the world by changing yourself, who are called to be on the world stage. That's why I keep saying, whether you're called to rule or you're meant to command the world stage and serve the collective, you need to come out consistently. You need to find out how serious you are, because some of y'all are not, you don't really want to do that. You just want to do it a little bit. You just want to do it if it's convenient. You just want to do it if somebody finally give you attention. If you get ignored for months, you're going to quit. But I don't know how sincere you were. Versus when you really get pulled and called, when something don't work, you pivot because you want to find what's going to work. Y'all need to come out. Y'all need to do hard things. And part of what's going to help us do hard things is doing it in beautiful environments where we're having fun. This is why Women in Italy is happening. This is why I'm constantly be talking about dressing cute, looking good. When you look good, it helps you do hard things. It ain't nothing like doing a live stream on a taboo topic, a powerful topic, a triggering topic, your nervous system is going wild, you sweat and your heart is beating fast, and you look good. It helps. Get the lip gloss you like, do your makeup, do your hair, look wonderful, and put your content together. We got work to do. And here's what had me go there. The feminine way. Ooh, the world has yet to see it. This has to be done the feminine way. This change we want to see at a collective level. The way we want the children to win. The way we keep talking about changing the world. The way we want this massive, come on, how many of y'all want this massive change? You're looking for some big boom to happen to fix the world. You got these big visions, big heart dreams. And then the flip side of it, those of you who got massive rage, you ready to kill them. Really, the inverted version of that is you want big, abundant love. You got big abundance that you are working on the dark side, the negative side of it. And that intensity of that rage, the intensity of that anger, deeper underneath it is your desire for the abundance of love for all. And here's the thing. If we are not allowing space for people's ugly, petty, you know the number of women, I'll say this, I won't say her name, but there's a woman who came to my womanhood initiation. She's not melanin dominant. She is a woman of color, but she's not melanin dominant. One of the benefits of being raw and primal and allowing yourself to traverse getting your heart broken, being destroyed, navigating your fear of being persecuted, hung, abandoned, being killed, because most of y'all ain't doing that. You're not, but you will with your sincerity. One of the benefits of me having walked this forbidden path is that I can be in the face of somebody where I can see their darkness clear as day, and I don't feel the need to get rid of them, push it away because I'm scared they gonna send the evil eye, scared they gonna do something wicked, scared. You know what I do? I let it in. So for those of you who call yourself, you gonna change the world? Carl Jung said the greatest way to deal with the darkness in another is to deal with the darkness in yourself. Can you sit face to face with a Judas? Can you sit face to face with an insecure woman who you can see she wants to compete with you, destroy you, conquer you, and use her for the benefit of both of you? Nah, girl. Nah, girl. A woman who in your face, she swear up and down with conviction that she has this package. She wants to help people. You know what I mean? She smiles. She seems like a good person. She means it. Oh my God. And you can see the part of her that is deeply insecure and is in competition with you, don't like you. And you can welcome her in. Or how about this? The woman of color who's not melanin dominant, who came to my womanhood initiation. And we were talking about if you so big and bad. This is one of the fears we were dealing with at the womanhood initiation of, in my conscious mind, I feel like I'm a big bad man. But my results are telling me something else. And we were talking about how we better than him, I'm better than her, prettier than her, smarter than her, da, 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 da. And I didn't say it to her, but I could see this woman of color who's not melanin dominant. I could see, without her even saying it remotely, I could see the part of her that feels like she's better than melanin dominant women. I could see it. And I allowed her to be in the community because we're not changing the world and doing anything astronomical. This is what I mean by most of y'all don't mean it. You want all the rewards without getting into the filth of it. You want all the accolades. You want to get all the attention and feel like you a big bad bitch. But girl, that bitch evil bitch. I can see. I see that petty. I see that ego. How about, for those of you who are sincere, see, because when you're sincere, you do things your ego don't necessarily want to do. See, when you're sincere, you do what's inconvenient because you want to find out, in part, depending on where you are, because this is graduation, what's going on inside of you. You need to uncover the filth and petty and insecure and competition and everything in you. Because most of y'all, you like me just like this on a TikTok live, but you don't want to be close because you're not sincere about your power. You sincere about watching TikTok lives about this, about your power, and going out crumbing it. You're not sincere about becoming fully integrated and dealing with demons, whatever the fuck y'all would call it. The evil eye, the malevolent entities that's running the world that you're so scared of. This is what I mean by who you become when you walk the forbidden path. I welcomed her into the woman community. We had a meeting. The same topic came up because almost all of us is dealing with this whole I'm better than her, but somehow you ain't producing the results. If you so much better than, smarter than, prettier than, which is all ego. To deal in unconditional love and really working your calling, that shit ain't even a fucking factor. The fact that you even dealing at that level tells us your level. The fact that you even still on that type of time, I'm better than that bitch. Grow up. You got growing up to do. You are disconnected from your fundamental wealth. If you need to look, or you still looking at another chick, whoever, talking about you better than her. Okay, good for you. Now what? What does that have to do with the collective? What does that have to do with what you called here to do? What does that have to do with the content for you to bring forward? What does that have to do with your reconciliation? Okay, Martinez, what are you called to do? I mean, maybe, all right, now what? Because I'm talking to this woman right here, the woman who's called to rule. Like literally, you're meant to be over how the world will be living in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And you may not even be here to see the fruits of what you do. This is who I'm actually talking to. The rest of y'all can benefit, but this is who I'm actually talking to. I'm not going to be alive to see wild fruits of my labor. I know that. I've accepted that. Are you called at that level? All of y'all who's here. This is who I'm talking to. I keep reminding y'all because we easily forget. This is who I'm talking to. Specifically. It's wildly inconvenient. It's wildly uncomfortable. There will be many, many days that you like, this is horrible. I made a mistake. I want out. In your deep self, which is your high self, you're going to be like, I can't. When your system is really this, what I'm talking about, you can't. You might take a break. I remember I went to Colombia one time, and I'm going to get back to the topic. I remember I went to Colombia one time, and I went on I bought an Airbnb experience for bar hopping, where, you buy the ticket and the organizer takes a group of y'all to 3-4 different bars in the night. And I remember when we met at the first bar, it was like maybe 8 of us. And then more people came that he knew while we were on the tour, but it started off with like maybe 8 of us. And one of the 8 of us was this Asian dude from New York. And I remember him being like, so what's up with you? What's your plan? Why are you here? Kind of thing, right? This was in Medellin, Colombia. And I was just like, I just came to give up on life for a little while. So my point is, you might take a long break. You might get your heart sliced and feel like, fuck this shit. And what happens at the bottom of getting your heart sliced and having to revisit why you started to begin with, why you gave yourself over to this to begin with, is going to speak to you. And you will find out if you mean what you've been talking about all this time. What your conscious mind been saying about you, a chosen one, you a child, you was meant to change the world. You got codes for humanity. You were part of the select few. You are the 144,000 and you don't even really know until you are destroyed at the bottom and you got to revisit and have that communication inside, because your codes are going to communicate to you. See? You see what I mean? This is the people who don't have codes can't even tell you this unless they heard it somewhere. Your codes will always communicate to you. They have their own intelligence, they have their own knowledge. Sovereign said, I don't even speak these things. They're not going to understand. They're going to understand you from their level. Like the people who be like, girl, me too. Same. Okay. All right. And you just let them think what they want to think. So the feminine way, this is the future, baby. This is the history, baby. This is, I'm telling you, yes or no? Question, yes or no? The world has yet to see the true power of integrated in the light, full feminine power through the vessel of a melanin dominant woman who's called to rule. What? Or even not called to rule, just in the light, fully integrated, true, humble, full, raw, out in the world. Do you know what's going to happen? When the numbers, not just a few of us, but the numbers, more numbers of us, this is the history, this is future, the future is now. History is now. And if you can't deal with all energies, which is why my own all energies exist, you need to be able to be in the face of it all. So to finish what I was saying about this woman of color who's not melanin dominant, but she's a woman of color, and the topic came up because everybody asked the question, because other women dealing with the same thing. You know, we're inside of the topic of your conscious mind is like, I'm better than her, I'm smarter than her, I'm prettier than her, I'm better than her, but your results is saying, actually, you're very insecure and afraid and you ain't so show, okay? And I asked her, I said, and keep in mind, my woman community is clean, so we keep the energy clean. And here's the benefit for you in keeping your energy clean, is you never have to worry about being betrayed. Whew, this is next level. You never have. Everybody who's betrayed, has been in agreement with their betrayal. Listen, you can accept that or not. Every woman who has been destroyed by a narcissist, everybody who has been betrayed, everybody, all of it, any enemy you can look at that has done something to you on some level, you have been in agreement with it. Here's the thing, most of y'all don't want the responsibility of keeping a clean energetic center. A clean energetic center means you tell the truth about all things, including the you that's petty, that withheld something because you hope they wouldn't bring it up, tried to position something a certain way to make you look a certain way, that the true intent behind that was to hurt somebody. All of that dirties your energy. It dirties you. This is why I say, for those of you who are sincere about your power, you call to rule the world, you own all energies, and you get clean, you're going to be such a fucking authority. You're going to be able to back up everything you say and do. Bitch, you ain't going to have to hide from nothing. Bitch, you can welcome the worst. Bitch, you can welcome all filth, all evil, all vile, all wickedness, abundant love. You can sincerely welcome it into your realm because you keep a clean realm. You keep your shit clean. Bitch, come on. Come on. And you can also act with striking, clear strikes. Most of y'all can't wield no manifestation energy because your shit is dirty. You trying to do something from a place of scarcity. You trying to do something from a place of fear. And you get a sharp ass sword when you clean your energetic system. You can strike, you can strike, you can strike. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Most of y'all, you don't want the responsibility of having this sharp of a sword and clean of a system. That's why I say, for those of you who are really this is, you see, the woman who is really this, she needs this. Her system hungers for this. The rest of y'all gonna wallow. You're gonna take a bit of this, what I'm talking about, and do your best with it. You're gonna take a little bit or a lot of bit of what I'm and do your best with it. The rest of the few of you who are, you got the codes truly to rule. This is precisely what your system requires. When I say requires, I mean you ain't striking shit without it. Because when you are a truly coded being and truly powerful, there is a thing in people that wants to destroy you. Listen, okay? There's a thing in people that wants to compete with you. They want to destroy you. They want to they want to do all of that. And as long as you stay clean, when I say unfuckwithable, untouchable, see, and this is all energy. This ain't got nothing to do with money, class, your body shape, your marital status, money, who you are. I mean, not who you are, yes, where you live, none of that. This is all energy. All energy. I mean you truly being responsible for influencing millions of humans. I mean this. You being responsible for your intent, the clarity of your intent, you being responsible for your action, your inaction, all of it. The way you walk in a room, even when you do something deliberately to make somebody feel uncomfortable. I did it today. Deliberately, I gave somebody a look so they would feel uncomfortable. I'm fully responsible for that and what comes of that. You see what this level of responsibility and cleanliness. Okay? If you would like for me to consider your content, you need a profile photo. Okay. The feminine way through a melanin dominant vessel who's true, who's unified, who's authentic, who's in the light. I'm telling you, that sword, you can do it. It's where your fulfillment lives. It's where your greatest arousal lives. It's where your abundant love and life lives. I'm telling you, this, if you're her, this is it. This is also what equips you to be able to deal with these people and not be insecure. They will oftentimes, because you're dealing with a variety of them, you have the ones who will genuinely bow down, because there's plenty of these people who know you when they see you. They know you when they see you. So for those of you who are in corporate or got jobs and you lowered yourself to get the job, see, the part of you that's disconnected from your wealth, your innate wealth, and you made the decision to get the job from scarcity, and they can see that you have value, but that you don't hold the value in high regard, yeah, that's what you're going to get. See? Or anywhere, even outside of a job. It's certain ones that know it when they see it. And then there's other ones who want to place themselves above you for those very same egoic reasons. For those of you who are like, I'm better than her. Okay, you showing your level and your status by even talking about you better than. When you're a coded being, you already know who you are. When you're activated in truth and light, you already know. You don't need to be above anybody. You naturally are. But then what happens is you can deal with these people who think they're better than you, above you. You can deal with them. Okay, so like this woman of color, I asked her straight up, do you feel like you're better than melanin dominant women? And she admitted it, yes. Now, see, I saw through her and saw that at the womanhood initiation. And instead of saying, oh, she ain't coming in here because she thinks she better than us, let's center her. Because you need to understand, many of you are filthy right now. And what you need is the right environment to clean your shit up. The right environment will purify so much. But the person who's holding the environment needs to be solid. See, If you're in rejection, you don't want to be seen, you want to hide, you're still looking for love, you're still looking for validation, you want to do a good job, you don't want people to say this about you, you're scared of being abandoned, doing it wrong, making a mistake, trying to look like you big and bad and you know what you do, all of it. This is why I say own all energies helps you deal with all of those aspects of yourself. The part of you that still wants to prove you a bad bitch, prove you're educated, prove you can make money, prove that you're good enough, prove that you can handle it, prove that you this, prove that you that. All that energy. The part of you that feels very insecure and you weren't loved by your mother and you got abandoned by your father and you don't know who you are and you feel like white people are bigger and better and you're scared to go live life and you abandoned this and you gave up on yourself over this and your dad said you could never make it. All of that is energy. All of it. All of it. All of it. Energy. All of it. All of it. All of it. All of it. Own all energy. Own all energy. Can y'all please put it in the comments right now? Own all energy. When your body shakes because you're owning the predatory energy in you versus saying, oh my God, he's such a predator. No, you're the predator. See, because that narcissist, men are so fucking narcissistic. No, you are. You just projected it onto him. That's why you called him in and you entertained him for 7 fucking years because you're the predator. You're the narcissist. And when you own that, you can no longer be afraid of a narcissist, call one in, play all of those games like, oh my God, or even be receptive and like conquered by love bombing. You're guilty. And when you can own all of this about yourself to the point where it makes you shiver, you cry, your cranium cracks open. You start to see all the parts of yourself that you ran from, felt overwhelmed by, felt like you couldn't, you weren't qualified. Oh, that was going to make you mean. That's going to be too much. I can't handle it. All of this energy, all of it, all of it, all of it. When you do that, and it's going to take time. Please, you microwave ass motherfuckers who want some overnight ass results, calm your ass down. It's going to take time. Time. How much time? I don't know. What's your sincerity levels? How true are you? How consistent are you being? I don't know. How sincere are you? Do it. When you truly become integrated and you do this, you are going to be such a beacon of light. And when you do this, in addition to reconciling your fear of being murdered, persecuted, raped, attacked, abandoned, alone. Yeah, see, we get deeper into this inside of the God Power Workshop. You see how rare this is? You see why I screen, I vet. You see why? You see what I mean by walking the forbidden path? And most of y'all don't really want that. What you really want is validation, meaning, and there's nothing wrong with validation per se, right? Because that's a form of reflection, but y'all still looking for somebody to show you you're love worthy. And that's why you saying on your conscious mind, you want to help people. No, you want people to tell you you're a good person. That's what you really want. For those of you that applies to, but you see why I'm saying what I'm saying and doing it the way I'm doing it with the God Power Workshop? It takes time and it's work. And when I say this one right here, this is what will satisfy you. What I'm talking about in here for this woman, coded, chosen, this is what, man too, this is what will satisfy you. It's intense. It's hard. It's horrible. You will have days you will feel miserable. You will want to kill yourself. All of it. And you will have days where you feel like you are so on the moon. You will feel like you're in the heaven of heavens. You'll want to shout down from the mountaintops and say, everybody, I'm telling you, this is the shit. You'll have days that you'll laugh hysterically, like, how fucking hysterical is life? You'll have all that. And you will continue. Own all energies. Own all energies. Could you imagine doing this type of work in Italy for 8 days? See? Beauty. Doing a live stream talking about overcoming your fear of death while wearing your most favorite dress. Your makeup is to die for and your hair is laid. This is why I say being in beautiful environments, prioritizing fun, because this shit can start to feel heavy if you just stay in it versus making sure beauty, wine, delicious dinners, travel, all of that is part of it. It helps you do your thing. This is why women in Italy exist. It's one of the reasons. Another reason is I just love Milan. Please read the details on the God Power Workshop page before you register. Please read the details to vet yourself and make sure it's for you. Okay? And then complete the application/questionnaire after you register. Okay? Registering and completing that questionnaire does not guarantee admission. Any questions?